to hand it over to Trevor now, who's going to go over our last session today, and that's advanced editing within Think GIS. So Trevor, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you haven't gotten too overloaded with information. What I'm going to go over today is advanced editing, basically how to create some of the features using the tools to create features and to modify existing layers. So first thing I'm going to talk about is just kind of the different ways you can do things on their man. So, drawing lines, points, and areas. So just showing the draw line tool, and I'll bring that back up here in just a second. The first tool, so basically when you're looking at your editing tools at the very top, the top lines are for creating new features on your map. The bottom line here is for modifying existing features. Right now I'm going to talk about the main three tools used for creating new features. First one is draw line, and as you see in the PowerPoint, draw line is for features that are line features such as road center lines, sanitary mains, or rivers and streams. So anything that's just a line feature on the map is your draw line. So to do any of that stuff, I'm just going to slide over here to the black area on the right side. And a lot of times what's helpful is creating yourself a practice layer that you can kind of practice on, or if you have something that's interests you, like a lot of people put their hunting blinds out there and put features on that. So it's just a way to practice doing the features on the map. So anything in Think GIS is left click to start, left click to stop, and right click to get out of. So I'm going to click on my draw line, left click to start, left click to stop, and right click to get out of, and that'll draw my line out there. Probably helps if I have the layer turned on. So just draw a line out there, and if you need to change directions, you just left click, and then you can change direction and keep going. Any way you want to change direction on your vertex, and when you're done, just right click, that'll be out there. So that's kind of your draw line feature function. Your next one, place symbol, is for any point features on your map. So this is your address points, fire hydrants, utility poles, water meters, anything's just a point features you can click on the map is what you would do for any of those type of features on the map. So going back to the map, that's your second point here, was just a little dot up there, placing a symbol or placing a point feature. And we're left clicking on that and putting a feature. We can just left click wherever we want to and place that feature on the map. One thing you can do with place symbol features, you can rotate that. You can see the arrows there at the top of my cursor. If I use my left or right arrow key, I can change the angle of that point. So you can see I've got a triangle. If I want to change where that goes, I can just change that directional and put that on there. So you can rotate those around as you need to. When those are done, so that's placing a point, just placing a point feature out on the map. And the third one is draw a polygon feature. So this is when you're putting things out there that are closed polygons that you need to know the outside boundary, the acreage, or the square footage of something. So that includes parcels, lakes and ponds, your city boundary, ESN boundary, township boundaries, corporate boundaries, anything like that that would have a unique fill in there so you can do some additional searches with inside those boundaries as well. If you wanted to know the number of addresses inside a boundary, you'd want to draw it as a polygon. So that's the third feature up the top, draw an area representing the feature or polygon. So you left click on that. And this time you'll see when I change direction, it keeps the lines connected. So now I can draw that in. And while we're drawing it in, you can also notice down here at the bottom left, the gray bar will show the details. So it says I've got 10.32 square miles. And also the gray bar shows some instructions on just basic hints of what to do while you're drawing things on the side. So we just kind of draw our boundary. And that layer is filled in. So it's a good QC to make sure you're using the right feature. On my layer settings, I have the layer filled in my fill column. And that allows me to make sure I'm using a polygon rather than a line feature. You can also draw a radius or a circle representing a feature on the map. So if you need to do a search within that, you can do that. But you just left-click at the point on the map. It says, how large do you want that radius to be? Let's say 500 feet. You can draw it as an area, so you can search inside it, or if you just need to do a reference line, you can do it as a polyline. We say, okay, so there's my circle. Just a nice, easy way to put a circle out there on the map rather than using a symbol. This one you can use to do advanced searches if you need to, and also maybe put around an address where you have some special needs people in there. It'll allow you to do an address lookup or an auto area search to find the additional, to locate additional information when you do an address lookup. And the last one you're going to use on the place new features is label this feature. That's when you put manual text out on your map. And when you put that, whatever ABC, that will be whatever's listed here is your current feature. So right now, if I click ABC, it's going to be practice. If I click ABC, I can resize that. You can see the size of the label down here in the lower left-hand corner. I can resize that by scrolling forward or back, or clicking my page up or page down button on my screen. Once I get it to the size I want, I will left-click and let go, and then right-click to get out of it. When I'm placing that, I can also use my left and right arrow key to change the orientation, just like I did with the symbol. Using left and right does the large increments of updates. If I wanted to do a small adjustment, I would use the up or down arrow key, and that will make minor adjustments to the rotation point. And then when I get it where I want, I will left-click. Excuse me. So those are all the features that you would use for placing new features. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to cough and didn't want to cough in everybody's ear. Okay, so those are placing the features out there on the map. If you want to modify existing features, you've got the three along the bottom. The first one is move. Now, move is probably the most complicated thing Think GIS does. So this is why I'm going to take the opportunity. You've probably seen it several times, but I'm going to show the help menu again. Going to the help menu is interactive. So if I want to know more details about something on the map, I can just click on the move button. And you can see, just looking at the help menu and move, there's 8 different ways of moving different features on the map. And scrolling down, there's all kinds of things you can do on there. So there's so much the map can do, but the help menu is very helpful to get you started as far as what should I do or how can I do something. There's some quick reference guides in there as well. So just wanted to do a quick update and show just some of the minor ways you can do some moving of features. The first one is moving just a point on the map. If I press S as in Sam on my keyboard, that will show me all my vertexes for the points on the map. So I can put my cursor on there and it gets a little square. It means I'm snapped to that point. When I get to that point, I can left click and hold down. You can see my cursor changes to drag. Now I can drag it up to my new location and let go. Because of the length of my line, it inserted additional vertexes. That's just because of how long that line is. I can also move multiple features. So I can drag a window around things that I want to move. Now this, when I'm doing moves like this, it will select anything that's locked for editing. So when you're doing a move, you want to make sure you only have the layer locked that you want to move features for. So if you're moving a bunch of addresses up or down a road or something like that, you want to make sure only that layer is locked for editing. Otherwise, you'll be making changes to other layers. You'll have to fix all that data as well. So once I drag a window around the features I want to move, I right-click. Now it says my cursor will change to move from. I can, 2 ways to do this. I can say move from this point and go up and say where's my destination point, and left-click and drag, and I'll move those, and you can see that all those features moved. Another option I've got when I do drag a window, I can do like I did, right-click to get moved from, I can do like I did when I did with just the point, left-click and drag and move all those features and then let go. So I'm just left-click and my mouse button, hold down, drag, and then let go. That allows me to move features that way as well. The third one for moving is what I call a fence move. So if you have a lot of, kind of have to get around a bunch of features to select just a certain feature to move, do the fence move feature. So I hit F as in Frank or F as in fence. And then I can kind of draw a polygon around what I want to move. So if I just wanted to move this line within all these other features, I could do that. It selects only that line, then I can do my move from and drag and move out to their location. So that's kind of helpful, just moving selected pieces of line along a border somewhere. So those are kind of the main three things you would be using for move for your existing features. That's moving your existing features. The next button up here is the DEL button. That's to delete graphics off the screen. It doesn't delete the feature permanently. So when I click DEL, I'm going to select the feature I want to delete and right-click and say yes. So it gives you several opportunities to say, are you sure you want to do this? DEL, select the feature I want to choose. It's highlighted for me. I right-click, yes. If you're not sure that that's what you wanted to do, you still have the opportunity to undo your changes until you click Save. Once you click Save, you're no longer able to do the undo. Right, so those are kind of the main tools you'll be using as far as creating new features or modifying existing features as far as editing. What I'm going to go over now is kind of some examples of how editing could be done in the mapping, and then I'll go over some linking and some things like that. So what we're going to do now is talking about a lot of people are getting new addresses and have to add a new road in. And with next-gen information coming up, you can see the segment has to be broken into new features in here, into new segments. So what I'm going to do first is lock my layer for editing, my address range layer, and change my current layer to the layer I want to work with. So now let's say there's a new road, new subdivision has been come in on this road here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so we can see the numbers. So first thing you got to do is click New Feature and populate the information you want to put in there. So we'll populate that real quick. Put in our range data, so populate as much information as you can ahead of time. If you're not sure, you can leave it blank and come back and fill it in later. Fill in the information you need, say OK. So now that's just a feature here, but it's not been drawn out of the map, so nothing. So now I just have a feature in the index, but no graphics for it. So this is a line feature, so I'm going to click my draw line. I'm going to draw the direction I want the road to go. So if my low address is at the bottom at the south, my high address is at the north, I want to put that way. I pull that up there, and left click and slide in there. Now you can see what happened here is I've got a tool, the map has a tool called the Topology Tool that says when you connect a new feature on the map, it will automatically split it for you. So to set that up in your layer settings, just find the layer you want. You click on the topology group and it says, a check mark says, auto split polyline features at all connections. And that way, whenever you have two polylines connecting to each other, it's going to break those polylines for you. And it says what group you can set multiple groups for what group it should belong to. In this case, we have it included in the roads group. So if you had address ranges or roads and highways, you would include all those and set all those up as part of that same topology group. If your layer was not set up as part of the topology, and you added another road, similar information. So this time I'm going to go ahead and draw this in. You can see this segment is still the same segment. So there's another way you can split this road information up for you. So you can go to Advanced Tools, Clean Up Conversion Tools. Down the bottom, you have the choice of Split Feature. What this does will break an existing feature into 2 new unique features with unique IDs if that's included. So I'm going to click on that, and once again, the gray bar at the bottom says select which polygon to break. I'm going to select your polygon, and it says where do you want to break it. So I'm going to pick at the point where I'm intersecting with my new road and left click. So now you can see once again it updated your range data and split up and put the adjusted range in there. Now if you didn't want the suggested range that the map gives you, you can still double click on the feature and change the value in there to something that you would want to do like that. Update the value to what would make sense for that particular range if you needed to. So you can always make those changes, but it just saves you time, and that way it auto-populates all the other information for you as far as road name, direction, community, etc. The next one I'm going to talk about is drawing a new area. This is a big one when it comes in with updating ESN boundaries as those change, as new fire departments come on or jump off, the ESN boundaries get changed a lot. This is one of the more complicated things that happens in the mapping for ESN is drawing in boundary polygons on existing layers. So feel free to contact us if you need assistance with that. So what I'm going to do here is show an area where it's possible that this community in this area has gotten their own police departments, and they're adding a new ESN to their setup. So we're going to, once again, first thing you want to do when you're adding a new feature is click the New Feature button. We'll put in the details of what we want to put in there, and I'm just going to quickly type this in. I'll fix that so they're not all PD. We say, okay, so once again, I've got my current feature, that 118 I just created. So now I'm going to do a draw polygon on this. So this is that third one, draw polygon. I'm going to kind of zoom in. When you're editing, it's always good to zoom into what you're working on. Instead of working way out here, you can't be as accurate as you need to be. So always when you're doing editing, if you're not trying to get around a boundary or something like that, try and zoom in on your area and then start your editing or drawing in this case. So in this case, I'm going to left click and kind of follow just the community. I don't really have a boundary, but I'm going to just draw that in for this particular community. And so just come down to the bottom here. So since we're working with an ESN boundary that already exists, you'll get a message that says an area already exists on this. Do you want to remove it? And almost 95% or 99% of the cases, you're going to say yes to this. What it's going to do is going to cut out this area from the existing polygon. So now we've got an updated polygon with a new ESN in there, and you can see everything you need to see. And now we've got a new polygon there, and in the index, that 118 is also there as well. All right, the next thing I'm going to talk about, so that's kind of how you do a couple of simple, additions of placing points on the map and placing the lines on the map. Next thing I'm going to talk about is doing some linking. And there's a couple ways you can do linking on the maps. You can set up a feature link where an individual feature on the map has a link to it, and it's just got a one-to-one match on there. And there's also a global link where every feature on the map has a link. So a school floor plan would be just an individual link, like a feature link. And then like sign photos, every sign in the county would have a photo, so that's a global link where you want to just set up a link one time rather than having to double click on them every 500 signs in the county and set up a link for those. So the first thing I'm going to do, and then the big thing about links is their file storage location. You want to set up a unique location that's pretty standard of where I want to put my data. So in my map, what I've done is set up a Think GIS data folder, and this is where I put all my link data for particular things on there as far as school floor plans or photos or anything like that. I want to be consistent with that so that from machine to machine and department to department, it's the same for everybody. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to set up a feature link for a school to start with. So I'll go school there. So we've got the school. Actually, let me go. So we double click on the feature. So we can double click on the feature, and to add a feature link, you double click on the feature, you go to the wrench and you choose add remove links. Click on the first line up there and click add. And the first thing you want to do is give it a descriptive name. So we're going to call it floor plan. And then we're going to link to a file. And you can browse the location of that file, so we can go to our data folder. And choose our first floor and say open. Say OK. I'm going to delete these because they're close. Say OK. And then I always like to save that as soon as I've added that link in there. So now when I click on that point, I can click on the floor plan, and it's going to open up my PDF and give me that detail. So I've got that information right there available to pick up. And these are all sample floor plans, so the schools may not match the floor plans that I'm adding in there. When we're doing the links to the floor plans, oops, clicked the wrong one, apologize. One thing about this is it always shows the last one you added first in this list, in this floor plan list. So if you wanted first floor first and second floor second, you'd actually add second floor, then first floor. So we can add another one. Just want to show an example of that. So we can browse it, remember where we were. Say OK. So you can see on the left side, it puts that last one we added at the top. So if there's a lot of floor plans included with a particular feature, you'd want to kind of plan that ahead and do those in the opposite order. All right, you can also, in this case, so you can do it that way, or if you have a lot of floor plans for a particular building or details that you want to go to things, you can also set up something a little bit different called a floating menu, and you can contact us about setting that up. But basically it would be a button up here that would have a menu that you can bring up. And I'm just going to select the one that's already out here. This won't work for this map, but you can set up a button up here that will allow you to set multiple searches up here. So you can say, I want all these floor plans in one spot. It's not linked to the particular school, but it's got a quick button that I can quickly jump to each of those floor plans. I can zoom to the school and do a lot of Think GIS commands outside of just clicking on the feature on the map. So there's a couple different ways you can do links. I just wanted to show that we've got this option out there as far as a floating menu. I actually use it for several commands. Common tools that I use for Think GIS as well, where I'm doing a lot of shape exports or importing images. I put those up there so I don't have to go to the menus all the time. So if you need assistance with setting those up, if you feel that would helpful, feel free to contact us and I can help you set those up. Excuse me. With the links, you can also set up the link to open up another map. So we can go to our add or remove links, put that in there, and we can say, apologize, I can't type today, but we'll put that in there anyway. So this is a case where you can set up a map that's been scaled to the scale so you can measure things out for there and get those on there. So I'm going to actually have this link already set up here, so I'm just going to copy that in there, save us some time. I'm going to do run script. I'm going to put this in the run script field and say OK. Save that. So now I've got the option to go to a different map. So I click on that link. It actually opens up a different map for me. So now with this new map that's all been scaled and color-coded and everything's set on there, I can come in here if I need to do my measurements or anything like that with the map. I can come in and get that. It's all scaled. So if I need to know how much hose I need for a certain area, I can see that. I can see the room numbers, the door numbers. I can set up additional links to doors and photos and rooms and things like that. So I need to see the photo of that room, because that gives me details there. So there's all kinds of things you can do just embedding different maps in there. Go back to my find zone map, and it'll open, kind of keeps one map open and goes back to another one. Okay. There's also different ways of putting data on the map, such as variables, which allow you to set where to put details in the map. That's over here in this data directory. That just tells you I want to look for different variables on the map, such as data directory. So look in that data folder. I can say always for this school layer, I always want to look in that Think GIS data folder here for those details when I'm setting up links. So that way it'll go right to that folder for me. Click apply, so it'll always, whenever we're setting up links, it'll go right to that folder. So there's multiple ways you can set that up. And you can also do it with some variables in the help menu, such as %, data, dir, %. Put some data in there, so it will just say, I'm looking at the Think GIS folder for the data folder, and then click apply. It's basically the same thing as saying see Think GIS data. Put that information in there. So there's some variables you can set up, and we can help you set those up if you need to. Sometimes with links as well, you also have multiple features you want to bring up from a point on the map. They're just like floor or crisis plans and things like that. A bunch of PDFs that you don't want to set a link for every single one. So you can set up a pick run feature on that link. So let me lock that layer for editing again. No. In this case, I'm going to set one up called crisis plans. I'm going to do a run script here, and this time I'm going to do one that's called pick run. So this way, you can see you can put a star at the end of it. So command is a pick run command, and you can put star.pdf or even star.star will allow you to open all the files within that particular crisis plan folder. In this case, I just want the PDF file, so I'm going to say OK, close and OK, save again. So I click on that, and I click crisis plans, and of course it didn't work. Let me change something here. I think this is the fun part of presentations. It worked yesterday. Let's make sure I've got it set up correctly. So sometimes things just won't do. So this is where my data directory is off just a little bit. That's where my variables off for my data directory. And if it's not, sometimes we'll just test with that. Sometimes you'll just change that really quickly. Change the format. So this is the one thing sometimes happens when you're trying to set up links is they won't work the first time. A lot of times there'll be a space missing in there, and your path will cause it to not link. And also you'll have an issue where maybe the computer is new and it doesn't know what to open the file with, so you have to set that as well. But there's multiple ways to get things set up. So we hit save. So there, now it's doing a pick run. So it says there's all these PDF files available for this particular spot. Now I can pick the one I want on the map. I want this one. I say OK. It brings up the details for me. So it's all just kind of one spot where you can click a point on the map and get a lot of details for that point. So that's your feature link. There's multiple ways you can do that, but that was all just doing features from one point on the map. I'm going to switch to a different map and talk about global links now. Basically, this is where you have a lot of features on the map that all have a something like a photo attached to them, or would like to have a photo attached to them, such as when you do sign inventories, you get sign photos out there. So in your layer settings, I'm going to go to our sign inventory layer. To the right, there's this link button, this global link column, and you can set up to 4 global links here in the layer settings photo. So click on your layer settings, give it a name such as sign photos. And then you set up the path. Make sure I'm setting up the right spot. Hopefully my data directory will work on this layer this time. See Think GIS data, so it should work there. It shows what my data directory equals. Say OK, so now you can see I've got a blue toggle bar, so there's a link there on the map. So when I go to my index, I find my sign inventory, and I'm going to search for a particular photo number. You can see there's the link there for every one of these photos. There's several photos right in this area. There's a link for every one of them. So when I click on that, sign photo, oh, that one doesn't have one. Where's my 4310? There we go. It's going to bring that detail up for us and find that photo. Click on this 4313 sign photo. Each one of those will have a unique sign photo. So I didn't have to go to index. So in this layer, there's 4,000 sign photos were taken for this county. That way I didn't have to go to every single one of them and set up a sign photo. All I had to do was set up a link. And what happens is the path is set up to match up the photo number in the field as a photo number on the map. We look at our setting here for our path. The sign photos. This sign photos is the directory we're looking at. And this in this carrots part here, the photo number, this is the field it's looking at in the layer, photo number, and then after that is the field type. So if you had even details on 2 different fields, if you put those together with spaces in there, then it would also work as well. So there's multiple ways of setting those links, and we can help you set those up as well. Like I talked about the troubleshooting, sometimes the links won't work. A couple things to look for any spaces in your path here. If there's spaces, then you need to include quotes at the beginning and the end of your path. That way any spaces, because computers don't know what to do with spaces, so we put those in there and says, okay, read everything inside the spaces. and it'll work there. And then also make sure that you've you've associated the file types with something to open with. So you can right-click on it and say open with. You can say choose a default program and pick the feature you want to open that with. A lot of times that photos, the default one is not set, or whatever one we're trying to open with doesn't work. So a lot of times you switch to photo viewer and then the feature will open for you. So there's multiple things to check for as far as spelling, spaces, all that stuff as far as getting linking to work. That about wraps up my presentation. So
if you have questions about using this or any other WTH Think GIS tools, please contact customer support at 888-225-5984.